session is item 7. That's a public comment period. And I understand we do have some folks signed up for public comment. If we could, we have our little sign-up sheet there.
Matt. Yes, sir. Get up there.
Okay. We're there. Okay, so we have Mr. Chris Harrington. You got that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes, sir.
Come ahead.
Hey, I appreciate y'all having me today. We've actually just moved back. I was born and raised here in Lubbock, and we've been in Austin for about 16 years, and so we've watched a lot of things when it comes to energy and things of that nature. Previously, I was working for a company called Tesla. You might be familiar with Tesla, and I was on the solar side. So in seeing that and seeing kind of the way that Austin Energy vamped their net metering program, we've actually got back here. We're doing the same thing. I know you have a net metering program, and we've been working to that. And that being said, I'm just wondering as far as innovations, I know we're looking at ERCOT and we're looking at several different things as far as where we go in the future. And when I look at Lubbock, there's a lot of opportunity here for solar. It's like 98% solar. I think we all know it's flat here. There aren't many trees, and so big opportunity for something as far as the future. And I know we've got a lot of things as far as on our plate as far as what we do. Do we go to smart meters? Do we go to these certain things, which we were on smart meters down there in Round Rock. And so I guess my biggest thing is there's a lot of things out there, and I think there's some better beneficial things as far as new technology, as opposed to let's hook up to ERCOT, let's deregulate the market. We ran a deregulated market in Encore, and that energy, that grid just sold for $10 billion, which I would imagine there's some infrastructure problems they have as well, because the areas are booming in Austin. Pflugerville's growing, Round Rock's growing, and so basically I'm here just to sit down and talk about something else that's more innovative in my opinion than, hey, let's just hook up with ERCOT, or let's continue buying coal resources from Excel Energy.
Mr. Kennedy, since City Council, since we don't have anyone on the agenda, we can't engage in conversation.
That's correct. This was not those.
We can't comment.
Okay.
I appreciate your coming in. Appreciate your comments today. We'll certainly take that into consideration. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
If there's no one else on item 7, then we'll take up item 8. That's the presentation and discussion of the update report by the Director of Electric Utilities or his designee regarding customer service, business center practices, procedures and policies, customer concerns and complaints, billing forms and procedures, and LP&L staff and vendors. Mr. McCollum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and as I usually do, I just go through the written material here and highlight a few things, and then, of course, we've got staff here that can respond to questions that you might have about any of this written material or anything else in regards to customer service. There's a new graph on page 10 that you might look at. It has to do with our City of Lubbock utility sessions and page views by day, so you can see the trend has been declining. I think there was a lot of activity early on when we first rolled out the new City of Lubbock Utilities website and the new interface for the billing system. So it's kind of declining, but it's still pretty heavy traffic on that. Moving over to page 17. We're trying to use social media more actively to engage with our customers and resolve issues. And you see on page 17 one example of where we had interaction with the customer that commented initially on social media. We were ultimately able to resolve his problem to his satisfaction. Sometimes more and more it seems like people want to deal with social media instead of making telephone calls. So if that's what works for our customers, then we're going to try to make use of that, solve problems that way. Then on page 19, you see the standard metrics that we report on. Call center handling time increased this month, and this is for the month of December, and a lot of that I think was related to the new website, and helping folks get their account set up on the new website. Helping them with learning how to use the new platform. So there was a lot of calls that were taken during the month for that. And we had a lot of traffic, email traffic, and text message traffic as well during the month. So I think that's all going to sort out over time. I think as folks become more familiar with the new website, then we'll have less activity helping us with that. And that's really the highlights that I want to report on. If there aren't any questions or any other subjects the board would like to address, I certainly do so.
Any questions on the report?
Well, everything's still going to go with the new billing system and all the more. Yes, we actually put in place today kind of an update, updated some of the few issues that we had that fixed some problems that customers had foreseen, but that's just part of the process of moving to a new website and everything. We tweak that as we go, but we just put some new fixes in today, which so continues to get better and better.
Most of the issues revolve around the payment arrangements of different
One of the recurring comments that we've had has to do with, I think the old system would let you put the day that you want to pay your bill in there. The new system doesn't allow you to do that. And it really relates more to Banner than it does to the Cooper system that we're using. Once the new billing system is in place, we will be able to offer that option again. But until such time, we can't.
So it's just the first month, it's one day that people are debited or something?
Yeah, it was like people were wanting to pay their bill on the 10th day of the month. The option that's available now is you can pay your bill 10 days before the due date, or 5 days before the due date, or on the due date. But you can't specify a date of the month when you want to pay your bills like you could before.
Well, that was a glitch. The first month, I did it that way, and the second month, it gone away.
That is correct. When we rolled it out, there was an option to select if you want, like if you went on and you wanted to pay in a week or something like that later, you could select that. That caused enormous problems with our Banner system. Remember, it's a pretty aged system, and so there's some things that we thought we could do that, but we ultimately we can't. Now there is a workaround there. One way that a customer can pay on any day they want to if they'll go to auto pay and set up it is a recurring monthly charge, but you can pay it on the due date, you can pay it so many days before the due date, things like that. So there is an option if you want to tailor it on a specific day of the month, you can do that through auto pay. There's just another screen that's basically a pay now button where you go in, and if you select that option, it's a one-time, but it would be drawing it from your account that day, basically. You don't, in that regard, you don't have flexibility on picking your date. Now, as we go forward and as we get a new billing system, we'll be able to bring in a lot more things that are a lot more flexible, but unfortunately, we thought we could make it work, but it caused a significant amount of problems.
We fixed the website page now where it doesn't say pick a date, because it said pick a date within the.
Right, that's not implemented yet, but that's in the next update to get that.
And then the videos, the tutorials on
The videos will have to be renewed in that one portion of that, because it shows those options that we started with, and we'll have to clean that up.
Other comments, questions? All right, none, then thank you, Mr. McCollum. Appreciate the report. We'll turn to item 9, presentation, discussion of financial and capital statements, financing options, audits, and financial policies of Lubbock Fire and Life relating to debt issuance issues, reserve account funding, cost allocation, revenue and expense projection, purchase power cost recovery factor, and customer metering, billing, and service issues. Mr. Sales, I see you're ready.
Yes, sir. Board and Council, again, we have a condensed version of the financial presentation for our new members. We typically go through the balance sheet, the income statement, capital program, along with the purchase power. We are in the process of finishing up the audit, and so we typically don't present numbers until the audit's finished, just since numbers can change. And so we're actually hoping to have a draft back from the auditors today or tomorrow. So getting close to wrapping that up. So next month you'll see the full financial presentation. But as usual, we'll start with our rates to report on our purchase power costs as we're supposed to according to the tariff. So for our average rate 1 residential customer that uses 1,000 kilowatt hours, our rates you can see dipped a little bit as we went into the fall down to 116.66, and if you'll recall, that's a blend of our base rate and our purchase power. And rather than having a winter rate and a summer rate on the base rate side, we did away with that and just have one rate, and so it's a weighted average between summer and winter. So it didn't go down as much as we typically would, but it also will not go up in the summer as much as it would. So trying to do what's right by our customers in terms of providing some predictability in the rates. When we layer on XL, these are customers in Amarillo. Their bills right now are about $112, $113, and XL does have the summer-winter differential, and so that explains why they're a little bit lower than us. And then the Texas survey, the average of the surveyed utilities that we compare to is right around $106, and the majority of them are in ERCOT. And so that would make sense since they don't have the capacity component to their market. So, which is one of the main reasons that we're trying to head that direction. So, but over the time frame of the graph, our customers have saved about $230 compared to XL, and just under $220 compared to that survey average. On the purchase power, and I apologize, the PDF in your books got cut off on the purchase power graph, so that's my fault. But if you'll recall, last month here, we had over collected significantly through last month, and we knew that was because of the transmission revenue rights and congestion. So basically, it was a timing issue. We saw revenues come in early, and then as we predicted, the fuel costs that lag a month behind because those have to be trued up. We see a fairly sizable under collection in December. So we were under collected about 600 to 700,000 through November, and then in December we're still in our $3.5 million bandwidth. So we're within the range of where we're supposed to be, but we're about $2 million under collected. And so in terms of what we predicted our model would be at this point in time, we're within several $100,000 of what we expected to be. It just didn't happen the way we thought it would happen. So, but it's difficult to predict transmission congestion. So, but the overall takeaway is that the purchase power model is working about as anticipated. So, in terms of the audit calendar, I briefly touched on this. We finished the field work. Auditors, we sent them a draft on Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, and we haven't heard anything back, which I think is a good thing. We haven't seen a lot of changes, so hopefully that what we get back today or tomorrow should be very minimal, and hopefully get that wrapped up in the next week or so. February 6th, I believe the Finance Committee members of this board, which we will post as a full board meeting, so everyone's welcome. But for the Finance Committee, or Finance Subcommittee, we have, I think we already have that on your calendar for February 6th to go over the presentation of the audit, and our auditor and partner from BKD, David Coleman, will be here to help answer any questions that you all might have. February 20th, on the 6th, it will also go to the City Audit Committee, so Mr. Taylor will get to hear this twice on the same day. And then on the 20th, we will present it to the full board at our regular February board meeting, and then a couple days later, it will go to the City Council. And for our new board members, our financials are rolled up into the city's CAFR, but we also issue our own statements as well. So they're not different. It's just we issue a standalone statement, and then it's rolled up into the city. So the presentation to the board and the council will be a little bit different, but just for a little clarification. So in terms of capital, this is really the only thing you've got in your backup. Last month, we had 80 projects open. This month, we have 66. A lot of that had to do with some projects that still had encumbrances at the end of last month. And so we've closed 14 of those, and we still have a handful that have encumbrances from the prior fiscal year that we need to clear out. But that number should be coming down. But overall, the capital program at this point is right under 172 million, with 143 million remaining. 130 million of that being in bonds. So the bulk is in bonds, and as you're all aware, our capital program has grown pretty significantly in the last couple of years as we get ready to build out the transmission system to make it more robust in order to make the integration to ERCOT seamless. So in terms of the detail of what we spent.
Mr. Sales, Mr. Conrad.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Chad, real quick, will that 130 million, will that come back down or level off? Are we about 65, 35 with regards to bonds and cash?
Right, yeah, that's a great question. So the way that we've done that in our model is, I think we came up with that, that was recommended to the board and council in 13-14. And so we've looked at in 13-14 all the way out through the end of our capital program when this transmission system's done. And so in some years it may be high. Obviously it's higher than 65-35 right now, but if you'll recall from the budget, if you look at the back end, like it's really front loaded with debt, and we begin to pay almost all cash at the end. So the goal, to answer, that's a really long-winded answer, but the goal at the end of it is to be at that 65-35 split. But in terms of details of what we spent the most money on, substation rebuild, we spent almost $700,000. Substation capacity upgrade, 182. So we're starting to see some real dollars being spent in this capital program to see this transmission system upgrade really come to fruition. And then we have our typical overhead and underground lines. That's always going to be happening. And then our vehicles, and then the other, just, out of the other 50 some odd projects, we spent about $466,000 for a total of just shy of $1.9 million. So I believe that in this fiscal year, we'll begin to see our capital expenditures outpace depreciation as we would expect as we ramp up this capital program. So be happy to answer any questions.
Just a general question, I think it's okay to ask what a committee meeting for the audit thing.
Yes, sir.
Do we post an agenda for those committee meetings?
Yes, sir.
And then when we put that notice out, just a request when it goes to the committee members, I think it'd be nice, I think it'd be good policy that we just first copy the other board members, since we got two and maybe soon to be three new members. So people that want to just sit in and learn, so if we knew when and where, what time.
Sure, and as Chad pointed out, last year we posted, and I think it's a good idea, we posted both the finance committee meeting as well as a full electric utility board meeting, just in case there was a quorum of board members that wanted to attend, so it wouldn't foreclose folks, So again, it's posted open public meeting.
So all board members get notified about the committee meetings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What time are those meetings on the 6th? Will they on or 11?
I had a feeling that question was going to come up. I'll look and get back to you before the meeting's over. I know it's in the morning, but I don't remember the exact time.
10:30.
10:30. Thank you.
10:30 on the 6th is what she said.
And it'll be in this room.
Typically, what happens is the finance committee hears or sees the draft audit report for Lubbock Power and Light entity, and we take that into consideration to go over several things there with the auditors, and then later that afternoon, the city audit investment committee meets to hear the draft CAFR and the overall city CAFR to ask questions about that. So, but that is, I would urge anybody who's not on the finance committee, as myself, Mr. Conrad, and Mr. Odom. So anybody who's not on the finance committee is surely welcome to come if we have a quorum or we have a meeting item 10, which is to receive a report and discuss downtown underground utility locations and relocation activities and electric customer connections. Mr. McGinnis, I think, is going to provide that report. To preface that, I think it's been at least a year since we discussed downtown adjustment or downtown build-out. So I asked the staff to put this on the agenda for just to receive a report about that. I think it's important that we kind of keep on top of that, monitor the situation, and take this information for things we might possibly do come budget time. So, Mr. McGinnis.
Thank you, Chairman. Board members, you are correct. It was January 2017, last presentation that I gave. There was an action item that you entertained April of 2017. So it's been close to a year, exactly a year actually. So and a lot of the slides are going to be repurposed. Just I'm going to highlight what changes have taken place. Development area, you're all familiar with that. That's probably one of the oldest drawings there is. You can see in phase 3 that it's been split into 2 different sections, phase 3 and 3A. Phase 3 runs right down Avenue J, and phase 3A runs down Avenue J for a little direction and kind of cuts over into the middle or the heart of phase 3. What's represented in the green.
So what's been actually put underground at this point?
If I can answer that question in a few slides.
Okay, I don't want to get ahead.
Okay. I have a little better drawing that'll represent that here in just a few minutes. The CIP scope was power cables, transformers, switches, and enclosures. Last presentation, cables, we had ordered 27,000 feet for phase 2 and 3. 5,000 has been used for phase 2, so we have a considerable amount of cable available for phase 3, and it'll cover most of phase 3A, which phase 3 at this point has been put on hold. There's not any plans to take that up. I think there is a project that's just been put on hold. Switch is the same. The bottom section of this slide shows the funding. 1.655 million has been spent or encumbered at this point. 1.89 or close to 1.9 million is available to spend. $500,000 was added for the 17-18 year budget, which took the total for the project up to 3.545. So, and there are no additional appropriations for years 18, 19, 19, 20 at this point. If you'll remember, a year ago I made the presentation from SGS that we had the contractor go out, evaluate the number of meters in these areas, and determine a budgetary cost of what it would cost to install subfeeders and do the alley work. So this is kind of a rundown of what those costs are. You can see current funding, we have 1.89 million. Remaining known installations at this point, the project manager in charge of this is the Glasheen parking lot. There's a couple of reader decks. There's a project there. Citizens Tower. There were some projects in April that you unpaused. Those are covered under that 115,000. So that takes the total available for the project, or remaining, is 1.775. The cost that the contractor had come up with were feeder extensions, 837 $837,000 sub-feeder installation. There are some of the sub-feeders installed at this point. That was another item that was unpaused during April. The alley conversion, the big piece, is $2.7 million. And then the overall overhead removal, which is part of the original CIP, is $161,000. So the total unfunded portion at this point, if we were to follow through with the complete conversion, is $2.354 million.
So let me stop you right there.
Yes, sir.
You covered a couple of different things. One is the completion of the trunk lines through all the phases. So basically, we completed the trunk lines through 3, but not 3A?
That is correct.
Okay. But now this issue here is for connection to the weatherhead for all of the areas to the trunk lines. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we're basically saying is 2.3 million is our shortfall to do all of that connection that has not already been tied up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, for all of downtown phases 1 through 5.
Yes.
That's our estimate.
That's, I get confused, is it 3A that's already been done, is it 3?
3 that's been done. 3A is,
But
3A is on hold. The city council has not approved the installation of the conduit in 3A.
Okay, is it 3 or 3A that's all?
3A is on.
3A is on hold.
So,
I apologize. It's been called, I'm sorry. It has been called 3A and 3B, 3 and 3A. The SGS contractor labeled his material 3 and 3A, so that's what I stuck with. So,
but regardless of where we are in the trunk lines on 3A through 3A and 5, this would be the estimate for in effect, our weatherhead connection.
yes.
For everyone, when all of those lines are in place.
Yes, sir.
When all those lines are
And this does not include any monies for connections to existing facilities, right?
It does.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
The weatherhead is.
This is connecting the existing weatherheads to the trunk lines. That's the price.
The 2-3 is the
It's not
cost to
already,
do all the connections.
right, it's not already. Everybody, we all on the same page?
And it includes whatever it takes to connect, if there's a transformer required, that's all in this budget.
The SGS did the estimate of cost that it would take. Go down the alleys, install transformers of various voltages, including dry type transformers, because we have these oddball voltages. And so all of that is incorporated in the $2.3 million estimate. And it would not require any work on the part of the customer side, because we would just be replacing the overhead wires to the weatherhead with an underground conduit that would attach to the same connection board.
And then regardless of what development takes place, whether it's a super block or what have you, the developer, if those blocks were redeveloped, would ultimately pay those costs.
Yes.
This would cover looking at the existing customer, the existing buildings and loads as cost.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis, I'm sorry.
Any further questions? No, not at this point. So this is the drawing that Mr. Chairman Taylor referred to just a few minutes ago. This is the feeder drawing. You can see at this point 3 and 3A take off where my pointer is and come down Avenue J. Feeder 3 is the purple, which is a little bit hard to see, but it follows Avenue J down to 14th Street, or midway between 13th and 14th Street. 3A follows the same route down Avenue J, cuts over on 9th Street, comes down G, and follows Avenue F south. At this point, you can see the green line, which is Phase 2, and the blue line, which is Phase 1, are already in place. Phase 3 and 3A are in up to 9th Street. And at that point, 3A stops. But it was an efficiency. They had the ditch open. You go ahead and put the conduit in for 3A, and you don't have to go back and dig it up again. So 3 and 3A are in until 9th Street, and then 3 continues actually until 19th Street, but the switches and the switch pads have been installed down to 13th Street. Nothing on the east side of J has been installed, so that is the part of the project that has been put on hold. Those are,
Purple's in, where that's it.
yes ma'am,
There will be purple line is done.
correct,
And Mr. Green is also done.
correct.
Mr. Bowman?
Are you not doing any work on 3A?
No,
Have you not put in ductwork and not run the cable?
the ductwork is in
That's what I'm saying.
between 9th Street, between Mac Davis Lane and 9th Street. But that's
Ready
it.
to go.
It's ready to go at this point.
Are there any areas that, where we have removed our facilities but left the line in for the other utilities?
I'm going to say Phase 1 and 2.
They still haven't.
No, sir. That gets to one of the bullet points here on the very next slide.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Odom?
Go to the next slide. I'll wait to see my questions answered.
This drawing here is a subfeeder line. And I apologize, I didn't bring it to the forward. So the subfeeders are also 3 is purple. You can see that from Avenue J west, they are installed. Nothing east of Avenue J has been installed. So there's actually on 9th Street down to meet Phase 2, that's installed. From Avenue J on between Broadway and 11th or 10th, I'm sorry, between Broadway and 10th over to Phase 2 is installed. The 2 colored blocks will come into the next slide, actually. And then on 14th Street, it's also installed. So the recommendations or directions from the EUB board that we would request is approval for an alley work to the Pioneer and NTS building. Now, that plays into the previous drawing. The subfeeder work from Avenue J down 10th Street over to Avenue M has been installed. The Pioneer building is red, NTS building green. There has been a desire to hook those to the underground system, a more reliable system. So the alley work would be required to get it from this switch box down the alley and to the 2 facilities. The next bullet point, does the EUB wish for an additional $2.35 million funding be added to next year's CIP to complete the downtown project? Advance notices of super blocks. We do anticipate, there has been some conversations between our project manager at LP&L and some developers. I will say that the communication has increased, as has been requested, but we would like as much advance notice as possible. As David said a while ago, so we don't duplicate facilities and spend additional money that doesn't need to be spent. And the fourth bullet, to address Mr. Boatman's comment a while ago, is how to persuade or incentivize communication entities to utilize the duct banks and allow pole removal. So I'm going to open it up for discussion at that point.
One thing you're asked for direction, I assume is part of the budget. There's no action.
Yes.
item on it.
Yes, sir, you're correct.
This is information only for assessment discussion, so. Anybody else have a question? But you don't understand where we are. Mr. McGinnis, on phase one, I think the previous report that we had a year ago was that, memory serves me, something less than 30% of our customers in that area had actually shifted to the downtown, or to the underground.
Correct.
And basically 70% were still on the overhead.
Yes.
And am I correct that in phase one, the communication entities have gotten off the overhead lines or not? Is that, do we know?
They have not.
They have not. Mr. Bell?
What authority do we, EUB, and/or city council have, if any, to persuade or incentivize them to get their stuff off the pole?
Mr. Jeffrey?
Mr. Bell, it's probably going to be addressed through the pole attachment agreements. And if the board will remember, we have a hodgepodge of those, largely from our SBS acquisitions and then inconsistent use through time of pole attachment agreements. That's probably where the authorities can come or not come.
Okay.
Are any of
Mr. Wood.
the others, I mean, other than LP&L, are any of the others in the ducts now? Have some of them done it and some not done it? Where are we splitting? Who's not doing it? Okay.
I believe that Sunlink has varied some of their facilities, but not very much. And I'm not sure about the
AT&T.
I don't think AT&T has done much utilizing the benefits.
Is it possible some of the toll agreements have expired?
We think that we're on top of those, Ms. Joy, and we've got, the council, excuse me, may not be aware that the EUB has modified those pole attachment agreements where it's very clear as far as the utilities' right to require removal and location underground and those type of things. But a lot of those older pole attachment agreements do not address that situation.
And unfortunately, most of that area downtown are the over,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and they don't expire.
Some of evergreen? Still forever and ever?
Well, I don't think it's specific to that, so there's never been done.
There'll be some opportunities on some of the agreements for provide notice for termination within certain windows, but there's numerous pole attachment agreements, numerous.
We have agreements with everybody.
Yes. And we, as we are able to terminate them or expire and not renew them, we are, our thought is, and our direction is to push them to the new agreements. And those require a lot more things, engineering, pole inspections, sealed plans, and a lot of those things.
Just to be clear too, on each one of those agreements, they actually pay the rental.
Yes, So it'll be a part of it, it'll be a per call fee, yes, sir. The reason it is,
So it's not just that they come up and attach it, it's a contract.
If they got off the call, who takes the phone number?
it's our,
It's our vote. So I think y'all can see, as far as the financial side of it, we're not talking about a huge amount of money to connect our customers downtown, and get them off the poles, and get them onto the underground. It's gonna be more of an issue to know when all the poles can actually be removed from that. Of course, at this point, we haven't really given our customers, even if they want, any incentive to shift from the overhead to the underground. Other than some construction projects.
When new construction comes around, yes, that's the opportunity.
So I was gonna add, that's what's, you could be sitting next to a dilapidated building, it's sitting there, and it doesn't have any reason for, to go to it, and development next to it until that happens, all that street. Correct?
Right. So I guess where I'm headed with this, as far as our budget consideration is, when that time comes, I want y'all to have this information, to think about whether we want to put into the CIP some funding for at least converting over phase one or further, or the whole thing. I think it's important that we at least begin to make some headway on this issue. Was a stumbling block, has been in the past, but I think we need to take this information and think about it. We'll for sure talk about it again when we come to budget.
The issue they want us to pay, that's a lot of the
No, I'm not even talking about the polls, I'm talking about just getting the service, customers on our underground service, so it's more reliable. Because
I'm talking about the others who may be in the drug system. Is that part of the problem?
that's really not an issue. It's really not an issue. I mean, we can, that needs to happen, but really whether we shift our customers over, whether we do the work to shift our customers off the overhead, that's a different issue than ultimately the pole removal. So I think reliability-wise, from system reliability or robustness, I don't think that's either. And I think it's something that we've got to focus on.
Yeah, the downtown system has been unreliable at times. We've had a number of outages in the older facility downtown. So we would like to get all of our downtown customers on the new system. Paid a lot of money to have the kind of city, paid a lot of money to have the conduit put in. We paid a lot of money to get the switches and cabling in there. So we ought to get our customers moved over to the new system and enhance the connectivity with downtown.
Mr. Conrad, you had a question?
I did. How many customers are we talking about in this study?
That's actually the only page that I didn't print out.
I don't remember.
200 or 300 is the number that comes to mind.
200 to 300. And of that, 30% are currently
Only in phase one.
only in phase one.
Yeah, there's been a handful of customers switched over. The Wells Fargo facility is on the new network. This building, yeah. A few others. Yeah.
Because they don't want to pay. We have never set the policy.
I'll find that number.
And I would say the original design of the network never incorporated doing the conversion of the customers. It was just to get the trunk lines in place. And really, have the network out there so that as facilities got switched over, then they could, or, super blocks developed, and they could make use of the network. It was never, at least from what I've been told from the SGS, because this all started before I came on board here, it was never taken to the end-use facility of the individual outlets in the original, so.
So Blair, assuming this recommendation is coming to us, I guess because of the reliability aspect of it, not so much of the need or demand, I guess. Or when I say demand, I'm talking about clients or customers.
I don't
No.
think customers know whether they're getting service from the underground or overhead, but I think it has been and is becoming even more critical reliability issue every year that passes. Our overhead service downtown is not going to get better. And y'all can just walk the alleys downtown and see what I'm talking about. You office downtown like I do, like Ms. Joy does, and you walk at all downtown. You understand the issue. And so I think it's something that we need to definitely air out in budget time and see where we stand on that. And I think, quite frankly, the economics of this are a lot more doable than what some of the estimates or things that have been said and tossed around in the past. So we need to be ready to chew over here. So,
Okay, great.
Ms. Joy.
I think we're talking, I've been talking about two different things. One is our customers who haven't switched over to underground. And the other one is that last bullet point that talks about communication entities to utilize the duct banks.
Yeah, I'm not addressing that at all. In this, when I'm talking about budget discussion, I'm really not addressing it.
Well, and that was my question about, is that the issue that they won't go into the ducts because they want us to pay for it? That was where I was headed.
I don't know the answer to that. I think we can't remove the poles until we get all our facilities off first and foremost. So this would allow us to get our facilities off the poles so that we can even be in a position to remove the poles. But even after that, you're going to have communications facilities on the poles, and we couldn't remove the poles until
That
that
goes back to the pole agreements.
So we just want everybody to be aware that, we can get off the poles, but until the communications facilities get off, we've still got the issue of poles. From our standpoint, the reliability of our service will be better, and our customers will be on the new network. So that's really our ultimate goal. But from the city's perspective, beautification and having cleaned up the downtown area, that might not be resolved just by getting us off the poles until we get communications folks on.
You all have a representative who comes to the board meetings.
Yes, Jared Hughes.
Maybe he needs to communicate some of this as well. So we can get some input and some movement, because, all we've heard from day one, gotta get those utilities underground. Well, that sounds good, but as it turned out, it's not just, it's all the utilities. It's not just LP&L, it's everything, so.
I'll take that back to Jared.
Yeah, or you could present it. It's kind of your deal, come over and kind of present it, and we'll see what the ideas are, because that's what we hear all the time, is what it looks like. I know the mayor's got some behind his building. You probably know either.
Right, Mr. Owen.
But, on that, and I know it's not our direction, to incentivize the communication side, but Oklahoma City, we talked about those other cities that done this and stuff, how did they get AT&T and Southern or whoever that may have been to get them off? How do they, because other towns have had it done this to get off the pole.
I don't know the answer to that. We can look into it.
Yeah, it's gotta be something there.
I think going back, at least pre-2012, when I was at the city, there was a lot of discussion in the TIP board meetings about the other utilities and how to get them off. And I know at that time, Linda Shamalis, who was the attorney at the time, had done an enormous amount of research. And, looked at a lot of case law and everything regarding, the utilities. And it was, I thought, I don't know if the city's still pursuing any avenues on that, but my understanding at the time was they were actively pursuing ways to remove the other utilities. I never got the impression at that time that those were LP&L responsibilities. They wanted LP&L off just as much as they wanted AT&T and Suddenlink and NTS off. So I know if they're not pursuing that today, there was a lot of historical research done when Linda was still at the city. I don't know where that stands today, but my understanding was at that time at least that they were pursuing options that could be done.
Mr. Bowman? Other comments, questions for Mr. Gibbs?
I don't know if Mr. Conrad's question was answered a while ago. It's not people requesting to be changed over to the service. That's not what's pushing. That is not what is pushing the asking for the 2.3.
Sure. I guess the premise of my question was, are we allocating monies for something that is necessary, or we hoping, building it, and they will contact?
No, it's more of a reliability
Okay.
on our part.
Other questions or comments on item 10? Okay, well, that's certainly a lot to think about. Good information, Mr. McGinnis. I appreciate your report.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure, I'm not really clear on the direction. Do you want us to incorporate that proposal in the budget, the CIP that we bring to you, or do we want to leave that? Because when we do our modeling, we'll need to know whether we should incorporate that or not. Or we could just come back and say, if you do, this is the impact, one way or the other, in or out. I didn't know if y'all were wanting to give that kind of direction, or if you want staff to just.
I would like to see it included.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Okay, item 11, consider resolution recommending to the city council one appointment to the electric utility board in accordance with section 2.03.415E of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lubbock, Texas. And I will open the floor for discussion on this point or for a motion. Mr. Bell?
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend Mr. Kevin McMahon to the city council for our appointment to the electric utility board. Mr. McMahon is a principal in a firm that traditionally maybe called accounting, but it's much more than accounting, all sorts of business services. It's a firm that's been in business for over 60 years, and so Mr. McMahon has an extensive amount of community service and involvement over a lot of years. I think he made a very good addition to our board, so I would recommend.
Motion by Mr. Bell, second by Ms. Stafford. Any discussion on the motion, the recommendation? Just for clarification, I understand this is a recommendation from our board to the city council. Obviously, that takes approval, resolution, and action from the city council. So, any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of this recommendation, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That's unanimous. All right, that would bring us to the consent agenda, items 12 through 16, and I would ask if anyone has one of those items that they would like to pull and discuss or consider individually. from the consent agenda, anything when you look through the materials, if there's anything in there that you want to pull off and discuss separately? No? All right, then we'll take these up. All right, Mr. Bowman moves that we approve items 12 through 16. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Henry. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That would also be unanimous. And that would bring us then to item 17, which is to adjourn. So we will be adjourned until our next